Started almost 30 years ago, and we got a call in the newsroom, a random call saying there was some crime scene at the Boot Village Plaza in St. Charles. A lot of police, a lot of crime tape. You better get out here. It was a weekend afternoon. It was spring. It was nice. It didn't make sense for the location. We started making some calls. We couldn't get anywhere. Finally, I looked around the room and said, let's go. It was just me at that point and the photographer. So out we went.
Nancy Kitzmiller was shot to death inside a St. Charles County boot store. Shot execution style in the back of her head with a .22 caliber pistol.
I guess you could say it was a story that I went to the very first day, but I'm not sure that's really it. I think for me, because sadly there's so many homicides in the course of the year that we all cover, they tend to go together. This one was different. Not that they all aren't equally important, but this one it just didn't make sense. It was a young girl in a store on a busy day. There was no robbery. And I remember driving back after being there for a couple hours where the police were giving off the vibe of, boy, this is stupid. This doesn't make sense at all. He just walks in, kills her, and leaves. And so that stuck with me through all the years, and I kept following the case without a resolution all these years hoping. And so when the St. Charles Department decided to launch the task force again, they knew I was doing these stories perhaps, and they reached out and said, hey, we can use some help here. We can use some publicity. Can you do more than a one and done story? Can you make this bigger? And off we went. Let us get in the door, and then, yeah, we can make it bigger. We can do more for you. And that's what we've tried to uphold. In this situation, I called every police department, every family I could find, every victim I could find, every eyewitness I could find, anybody I could find on a delicate story where maybe they don't want to come forward. Maybe the families grieve too much. Maybe the witnesses are afraid. Nobody said no. Vicki Webb, 30 years basically in hiding, didn't say no. When I got her on the phone, it took a lot of calls to a lot of women named Vicki Webb. Finally found the one when I said, are you the Vicki Webb I'm looking for? And she says, I probably am. And then later, after developing a little bit of a give and take relationship, any chance you'd ever want to talk to us? And then finally it's, let's do it. The fact that all these people said yes, in a world where, in our daily world, it's hard to get them to say yes. It's really remarkable.
How you doing?
How's it going?
Are you guys doing a story on the I-70 killer?
It's the little nuggets you look for in the course of while you're doing your stories. I'll tell you a couple really fast. In Indianapolis, Mike Crook, the lead detective, calls Susan Fuldauer, a relative of Robin Fuldauer's, every year on the anniversary of the killing. Not to tell her he's got something new in the case. He calls her on the anniversary every day to say, how are you? I'm out here working for you. I don't have anything new for you. I've not forgotten you. I'm keeping plugging along. It's good to hear. You go to St. Charles, Pat McCarrick has an audio tape in his desk. One of the women in Texas who was not as lucky as Vicki Webb, Amy Vess, was shot and killed. As she laid there dying on the floor, knowing she was dying, she crawled on her stomach to reach a telephone, pull it down, and call 911.
Amy died Tuesday night from gunshot wounds to the neck, head, and face. She was at work at the Dancer's Closet in Arlington when someone robbed the store. In her condition, Amy called 911 for help.
Stop. Okay. Do you need an ambulance? Okay. Where are you hurt?
Pat McCarrick has that audio tape in his drawer. He listens to it over and over. And when he thinks that a case is 30 years old and it's going nowhere and there's no chance and he has a bunch of new things to do, he goes back and listens to that tape. And then he says, you know what, I'm gonna keep after it. And that's remarkable.
If there's somebody who can listen to that tape and not be moved by it, they need to find another line of work.
And then we meet Tim Hickman, who's the most reliable eyewitness on the face of the earth right now. He saw the man like I'm seeing you a couple times in his sights. He heard the shooting, he saw him flee. And to see the pain and the hurt in his voice and the tears forming in his eyes when he asks himself, did I do enough? Could I have done more?
It's bothered me for years. I mean, I feel like I didn't act fast enough. If I'd have not waited so long, and that they might have caught him.
If you told me that our reporting or our efforts here, which have been quite a bit, had this much to do with helping the police solve the case, or having somebody see our work and call the police, or it had anything to do when they arrest somebody and they can convict somebody, if it had anything to do with it, what a thrill that would be.